Hi students, welcome to BizTown. This is our facility here in Nashville, Tennessee. I know that you have just started the curriculum and you're working in your financial literacy unit. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about checking accounts, and I have some special guests with me here today that are going to share some perspectives from their real life. So would you guys mind introducing yourself?
Sure. So I'm Kelly Allen, and I am a local branch manager here in Nashville, Tennessee.
And I'm Andy Irvin. I'm also a branch manager with a bank here in Nashville, and just deal with the day-to-day life of banking.
I know you guys have been learning about the basics of a checking account, how to write a check, how to keep track of your transactions in your check register. So I want to talk to our special guests here about their first experience when they opened their own checking account. So do you guys mind telling me kind of how old you were and what really prompted you to open your checking account for the first time?
Sure. Thanks, Faith.
Yeah.
I opened my first checking account when I was 16. I had gotten a job at Kmart and was working there part-time while I was in high school, and so I wanted a place to be able to put my money. And at that point, they didn't have direct deposit, so I had to take checks in. But then I would have a check register and be able to keep track of what my spendings were.
Awesome. Yeah, here in BizTown, the students actually get a paper check. They have to come into the bank and deposit, and then they also get direct deposit, so they get to see the two different ways.
That's great.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing yours?
Yeah, I was actually 18 years old. I was headed to college, and I was leaving home for the first time, getting away from town. And in the process of being away from my parents, I needed to have a debit card or be able to have access to pay for bills or food or other types of supplies while I was away from home.
Awesome. Alright, so checking accounts have a lot of different features, and I'd love, Andy, if you would share with us some of those features and how you use them in your personal life, or have in the past.
Checking accounts have changed a lot over the years, but the biggest part is to be able to keep track of your money coming in and going out. I can remember I used to sit down, and I learned this from my parents as far as budgeting and writing all my transactions down and keeping a transaction register. Once a month, I would sit down with all my bills at the table and write out all my checks and send them off in the mail. Nowadays, though, I use online banking where I have all of my bills already typed in and saved, and so each time that I get a statement or a bill in the mail, I just type in the numbers and send it off, and it's been a lot easier since I used to sit down and write out the checks every day.
Right.
But it's been a nice change.
Awesome. Is there any time that you have recently had to write a check?
Yeah, so there are still occasions that I still write a personal check. Sometimes if I'm paying an individual and I don't have cash on hand, I'll use one of my checks to be able to help pay them. I also use them for donations on a regular basis, as well as when I do large purchases. Sometimes, you know, in the transaction of buying a house or paying rent every month or buying a car, sometimes those larger transactions that I don't have cash for, I use a check.
Right, and sometimes places require that for those larger purchases just to make sure that you do have that money, you know, instead of using a credit card or something like that. That's great. Kelly, what are some features that you use?
Yeah, so we, at my household, a lot of times we use the automatic draft where it will automatically set up. So for example, a bill, instead of having it set up like Andy does through his online banking, I would wait for them to send me the information, and they'll say how much they're going to debit out of my account each month.
So you really don't have to do anything.
I don't have to do anything, so it makes it a little bit easier, and that's through what they call an auto draft. But mainly, I think one of the biggest things is the new direct deposit. As I mentioned before, I had checks, and now direct deposit allows me to not have to worry about cashing the check or going into the bank. It's automatically there, and then of course that helps with the auto draft, so that my money's there, and then the auto draft can come out to pay my bills each month.
Right, and a lot of times I believe you can even set those auto drafts to come out at a certain time of the month, maybe
Absolutely.
right after you get paid.
Yep.
Because the students are learning. It's very important to know what's coming in and out of your checking account, keeping track of your check register so you don't have
Right.
Overdraft charges.
Yeah, and one other thing about the direct deposit that I always think about is that you can separate your direct deposit. So a lot of companies will allow you to put a portion into a savings account and a portion into the checking account.
Yeah.
So that's very helpful as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing some of these experiences and features of a checking account. Students, I hope you feel confident as you grow up and start your own checking account.